Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Trailmakers, and today we're going to be playing with some of the new parts that have just been introduced recently with the latest update that allows some things that I couldn't really do effectively before. And one of those things is going to be creating an actual self-balancing hoverbike that can self-balance over the water. Because previously, the way that I would do self-balancing is using these sensors. So you can see this sensor on the side, and when that sensor detects the ground, it causes that middle servo to rotate, essentially creating a reaction trying to push it to the other side. But the problem with sensors is they have to detect the ground. When you're over the water, they don't detect the water, so it was really, really difficult to create anything that would self-balance while going over the water, especially if you're just dependent on sensing the ground, because you just can't do that. But now we have the angle sensor, which is an objective angle sensor, just your orientation in space. So it doesn't matter if you're detecting the ground, doesn't matter if there is no ground. All that matters is how much is your vehicle tilting, and we can essentially give that the same kind of control that this thing has, but it's gonna work in any type of environment, even in the air. That was another big thing with the sensors, is once you got into the air, your sensors wouldn't be detecting the ground anymore, so that would make things a little bit difficult too. So this was my previous attempt at a hover bike, and the way that I got around this sensor issue was I essentially made the sensors pointless by adding these extra hover pads on the side, which kind of ruin the thin profile of a motorcycle or a bike. But those are the only reason that I'm not tipping over, because if I didn't have these side ones, then that happens. And apparently even my auto balancing, I don't think is strong enough right now. Here, oh, this is on speed 1. Let's set it up to speed 10 just to see what happens. Yeah, so now you can see it definitely auto balances with the sensors. So here, let's turn. Oh boy, this is terrible. I forgot that oh, this might actually make things interesting, because I forgot that hover pads, they don't do well when they tilt compared to when they're straight on the ground. But see, you can see I'm self-balancing now, but oh no. If I go over the water, which I actually have to get to the water first, you will see all of this stuff just go out the window. All right, I'm over the water and I tip, because the sensors no longer detect the ground until I sink. So I'm thinking, let's try to convert this the best I can into, like, it already looks cool enough, I think, on its own. So no sense in redesigning when I have most everything that I need, right? So let's essentially replace these sensors. And where am I gonna put, I think I only really need, no, I'm gonna need 2 angle sensors, I think, maybe. Oh wait, how do the angle sensors work as far as output? They only receive, I think they only give 1 output, and since I need this to rotate in 2 separate directions, I might need 2 separate angle sensors then. All right, here we go, sensors, angle sensor. So the output, yeah, so it looks like if it goes on either side, it's going to output the same output, which we don't want. So there's 2 options for this. Either we have 2 angle sensors, or we have 2 helicopter engines. And these helicopter engines have to spin in different directions if I use 2 helicopter engines. Otherwise, this is gonna be interesting, actually. This is not as easy to do as I thought it was going to be. It'd be nice if I could set like a divider where one side is a negative input or output and one side is a positive output, so it sends that signal either way. And then we can have like a neutral zone where there's no output. That would maybe be something to consider, Trailmakers devs. So, maybe I could just fit them right in here. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? This doesn't have any attachment points on this side, so if I just duplicate that, it would be, oh no, it attached at the top. Okay, this could work. Okay, so now these are going to be interesting to program, because I need 1 to trigger a negative output and 1 to trigger a positive output. So if this one triggers this, but I only want it to trigger, where do I want it to trigger? I want it to trigger if it tilts to the left. So essentially, I want to, so we're gonna have this be 180 degrees, and I need to move that little blue thing, so if it gets triggered to the left, it's gonna send a negative output. So let's see if that works. Okay, I think I've determined that that is maybe facing, that should give a positive output instead of a negative output. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now I just need to set this other one to do the opposite. So this one is gonna give the negative output to this, but what are the settings on this one? 180 degrees, negative 77.9. Let's just round it to 78 instead of 77.9. So negative 78, there we go. And then 78. So now those are pretty much just opposite of each other. We bring them in. That's gonna give a positive output. That's gonna give a negative output. So now we should be self-balancing. And as you can see, it's totally working, but it's very, very wobbly. I wonder if there's a way to make this less likely to wobble. All right, here we go. We're gonna do negative 88. So this is gonna have essentially 2 degrees of wiggle room. All right, now how's it gonna go? Hey. Hey, hey, this is nice. Ow. How did we not, like, we didn't really break that much there. I mean, it would be nice if there was some kind of way to dampen. Here, I'll put the strength down on this. Let's go speed 5. How's that gonna feel? All right, that's definitely less extreme, but can we prevent ourselves from tipping over entirely? Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, this isn't bad. This is not bad at all. So now the only downside with this is my turning is bad. My turning is kind of bad. It's supposed to be turning based off of the fins, because we got these fins up in the front, we got these fins in the back, and when this whole front section turns, let's set it to 30 degrees instead, it should catch the wind and cause us to turn. That's a little bit better. Whoa. All right, how about on the water? Can we go on the water? Oh, what is happening? We're wheeling in the water. This should not be a thing that's happening right now. Okay, that was interesting. All right, you know what else I want to do? I want to duplicate. Here, we can delete some unnecessary pieces on this, but I want to duplicate this to the back. Yeah, that looks cool. This is looking cool. Now let's see if we can get this thing on the water like it's supposed to be. I think I just got to approach it a little bit more gradually. Oh, there we go. Why are we so slow? What was that What was that all about? I feel like we should have been on the water fine there. All right, let's try this again. Man, that back end really doesn't like that, does it? There's some, I feel like there's really some, like, look at, what? There's something up with that back, the back hover pad. Why is the back one dragging on the ground so much? It's only when I go, like, look, it's fine now, but when I start going, that one just goes down. The thing that makes the most sense to me is if my center of thrust is way below my center of mass. So let's do an experiment. If I go backwards, I have a backwards thruster, but if I go backwards, then the front should go down. Oh. Oh, that's the issue right there. Issue has been found out. So that means I need a higher center of thrust, but how? All right, we're definitely gonna have to rework this design quite a bit. So if I move that up and that up, everything else becomes detached unless I just duplicate this right up there, and I think we've just done it. I think we've actually done it. We've raised it up. Everything's still attached, but no, are we still? Do we still have a lower center of mass? What? All right, I feel like the best way to figure out if our center of thrust is really that far below our center of mass is just drive off of a cliff or something, like over here. If we do backflips, then we have the answer. That's not what I was expecting. This isn't making any sense to me anymore. I thought this was gonna be easier, guys. Do you think it's the suspension that's ruining it? Maybe if I get rid of the suspension, everything will be more equal. All right, well, this is interesting. I got rid of the other hover pads in the back, and this is working fine. And I've taken a lot of damage. I'm missing some pipe pieces, as you can see. Things are definitely not how they should be completely. But this seems to be working fine for some reason. There's something to do with this. This is really weird. Adding another hover pad to the back made the existing hover pad worse. Unless I just got lucky with this run in particular. But let's find out. Let's actually repair ourselves, and we'll try this transition again. All right, here we go. Let's try to stay intact. All right, we're on, and look, it works. This is working great now. I wonder if the suspension was even a problem at all. All right, so I'm gonna bring the suspension back and we're gonna see if we have our problems again, because it could have been a combination of factors that I just did. All right, here we go. Suspension is back. Let's see if this thing still works with suspension on. It looks like it's working as intended so far. Ah, yes. It looks so much better with suspension, to be honest. Seeing the actual compression. I like this. I like this a lot. This looks good. This is a hover bike. This was my vision. When I created this hover bike at first, however long ago that was, that might have been like a year ago or more. This was the vision that I originally had in mind, but I lacked the capability of balancing without those sensors. So I had to add those extra hover pads on the side if I wanted to actually go over water. And now, as you can see, it works fine. As long as you stay above a certain speed. So you know what? Let's try this with the dynamite. But I want to use the dynamite now, and I want to create the speed version of this hover bike, where if you go below a certain speed, not only do you sink, but you explode. But the problem with that is, I don't know how to start, because if you just start below that speed, it should just trigger immediately, pretty much. I don't want that to happen. All right, I see exactly where to put the dynamite too. The dynamite will fit perfectly right there. Look at that. That is so perfect. All right, now we also need a speed sensor. All right, so now if we go below 30 kilometers an hour, no, 35. I think around 35 is when you start sinking. So if you go below 35, you trigger death. But the problem is, as soon as I spawn in, yeah, so now we need some way to delay that. Like, this won't be active until you get over 35. I don't know. There's definitely some type of logic thing that I could do to make this happen, but I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm gonna work with it. I'm gonna think on it. Wait, I thought of an easier idea. So we already have a speed condition with the hover pads. If you go below a certain speed, you sink. But what we do have is an altitude sensor. And since we are gonna be on sea level, when we sink, this altitude sensor should go below sea level, right? All right, so if this goes below 0 altitude, then we should die. Okay, I think that actually would have worked if we got on top of the water there before going under. All right, come on. There we go. Look at that, we're at 1. It works. We are at 1, so now if we slow down too much, this is exactly what I wanted to happen. If we slow down too much, we sink and explode. Oh, this is fantastic. All right, so if I turn too sharp, I will slow down too much. Oh, and I sink and die. You know what? I think I'm gonna go like -3 or something on that, because I feel like that was too soon. I want to actually see my vehicle go underwater. So essentially, I'm creating a hover bike that is afraid of drowning. All right, let's see. Let's go -5. -5 feels like it might be more appropriate. Come on, stay up on the water. There we go. All right, how does -5 feel? If we slow down, what happens here? All right, I think that was too much. I think -2 actually looked good to me. All right, here's -2. How's this gonna feel? Okay, slow down. Yeah, that is perfect. As soon as it gets fully underwater, it explodes. All right, do you think I can like hover over it? Oh, ow. Ooh, okay, that was a little sketchy. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a challenge here. I don't know what the challenge is gonna be. Let's try to weave in between all these poles and see if we can do that without sinking. And if we sink, we explode. Simple enough, right? Ooh. Okay. 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 Okay, my turning is a little bit weird sometimes. There we go. All right, and then figure 8 back. This is where I have the most potential to lose too much speed. Go, 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 go. Okay, and we're dead. High stakes hover bike here. All right, this is probably not gonna work. I'm gonna try to weave in and out of these bays. So, ooh, don't slow down too much. The tough part is gonna be doing this U-turn right here. All right, now U-turn. No, 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 go, go, go. Holy cow, that actually worked. All right, and then over onto this one. Go down this side. And U-turn. Oh, whoa, did we just like do some type of slide? That was amazing. A slide on water with hover pads. And the angle sensors save us from actually tipping over completely. Something that we would not be able to do with sensors. Look at that. That is so cool. I love when that happens. I think the reason why that's happening is the way that this is balancing is using that, you can see it turning back and forth, that servo in the middle. And these servos have a weird effect where the longer they're being triggered, the stronger they get. So the initial trigger of the servo is actually weaker than holding down that input. So I think if we go straight for too long and then we tip over, see now it's like super strong, super overcorrecting, but then once it's like relaxed for a little bit, then we can flip over like that before it picks up strength again. I'm pretty sure that is what's causing it to slide sometimes, but the slide looks epic. Imagine sliding under something. Whoa! Okay, if we keep spinning, we'll stay on top of the water. But now, how do we get out of this without sinking? I'm totally gonna die right now. No, it didn't work. If you guys weren't aware, it's been a while since I've done this type of video, but I have an actual playlist of like 4 or 5 videos of giving vehicles irrational fears that cause them to pretty much fall apart or explode or some other thing. I think I did a dragster that's afraid of going too fast, a plane that's afraid of heights, a boat that's afraid of deep water, like all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave that playlist on the end screen at the end of the video and maybe in the description if I remember. Woo! Okay, I've just done the stupid thing again. There's no way out of that. I don't think there's a way to pick up speed. I want to try that. If I can slow down the spin enough, I might be able to pick up some forward momentum before it's too late. All right, here, let's get spinning. There we go. Okay, all right, nice and slow. See, it's not working. I'm not picking up any forward momentum, really. Nope, I don't think you can do it. What? This is a unique trick. That hover pad is totally keeping me up right now. That was cool. So what's really nice about this is truly, the hover bike, it works on land and it works on water, but it is truly purely afraid of drowning because you will not explode unless you go underwater. Like anywhere on land is gonna be above sea level, so there's no way. Here, let's try this. Actually, let's take this thing off a jump. I totally forgot that's one aspect of the angle sensors that we did not have with the ground sensors. This thing will maintain its balance in the air as well, theoretically, but of course it's gonna crash on landing. But here we go. Oh, it doesn't have forward to back balance. It just has side to side balance. But hey, look at this. We're still working. And actually, do I like this better? I think I like this better without the front. Is that better or is that better? Huh. I think I like it like this with just the 2 hover pads. This is actually kind of nice with just the 2 hover pads. It's more sleek and compact. All right, here comes another jump. Gotta maintain a nice trajectory. There we go, perfect. I mean, what more can you really hope for? I mean, I guess you could hope for not dying and destroying your hover pads on the landing, but it's working as intended pretty much. Oop. All right, here's gonna be an interesting test. I'm gonna go off of the catapult, and that should really mess with my trajectory, and we're gonna see if we can right ourselves mid-air going off the catapult. Here we go. Look at that, it did it! It did it! It's stable now. And we're dead. So yeah, this is just one example of what these angle sensors can be super useful for. Like, this is just something that we couldn't do. We couldn't have this amount of stability this easily. You could do it, I think, with some more complicated logic and thrusters and all that stuff. But to do it with this amount of simplicity, that was not a thing that was as easily accessible. So if you have any other ideas on how the angle sensors and dynamite can be used either independently or in conjunction like I've been doing it, then let me know down in the comments below. And again, if you want to see other vehicles that have irrational fears of things that they shouldn't be afraid of, then you're gonna want to check out this playlist on the end screen right here. And I hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.